7-1. So yeah, let's go. MC. Oh yeah, our MC is here. Our MC is from Egypt, Toastmaster Sarah. Yes, Sarah, let's proceed.
Good evening, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow Toastmasters, good evening, and a warm welcome to this Toastmaster Brand Awareness Workshop. I'm honored to be your Master of Ceremonies for today's meeting, and I assure you that we are in for an excellent and informative session. Before we delve into the heart of the workshop, I would like to take a moment to express our sincere gratitude for the presence here. Your participation. Sorry, I thought I shared my video. I apologize. Your participation is a testament to your commitment to personal and professional growth. We all understand that. And we are very thrilled to have you all here today. More about today's workshop. It holds an immense significance as it aims to shed the light on an incredible awareness into Toastmasters branding. And what makes today's event even more special is that the presence of an exceptional presenter who will be guiding us through this enlightening journey. We are incredibly fortunate to have Toastmaster Ang Sto, a remarkable Toastmaster from the illustrious Sydney Distinguished District 74, who will be sharing her expertise with us. Her achievements and dedication to the Toastmasters community have made her a beacon of inspiration for aspiring speakers and leaders, us included, of course. Throughout the workshop, Toastmaster Anki will share insights that are sure to captivate and motivate all of us, and we are privileged to learn from someone with such profound knowledge and experience. So without further ado, let's embrace this opportunity to expand our understanding of the Toastmaster brand. Let's embrace this opportunity to expand our understanding of the Toastmaster brand and how it has transformed lives worldwide. Be prepared to be engaged, enlightened, and empowered by our fantastic presenters. Once again, a heartfelt welcome to each one of you. Let's make the most of this workshop, and may it ignite a new passion for communication and leadership within all of us. Thank you all, and let's get started. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, the first, before all, the compassionate lady boss of District 20. She is someone who always serves the district silently, yet empowering leaders along the way. Someone who participates and practices optimism in the face of adversity, without a care in the world. Her excellence in leadership still resonates through her journey in Toastmasters, and she's someone who demands excellence, which is very evident from her terms as an area director and division director, where she took her area and division to be the #1 amongst the areas and divisions of District 20. A weaver of wonder, our DD dreams, big for the District 20 family members. Let's all welcome District Director DTM, Mona Al-Uqab.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sarah, for the wonderful and kind words. Program Quality Director DTM Yasser Al-Gashar, I cannot see our CGD is here. Is it she's here? Okay, I will just recognize also our CGD Club Group Director, DTM Siham Muhammad, our admin manager, Toastmaster Sarah Ibrahim, our PRM manager, also the Toastmaster Bishan, and division directors, area directors, and a special warm for our guest for today from this hall, from District 74, Toastmaster or DTM. How can I pronounce your name? I will try. Angsto, is it?
Anka. Thank you.
And special guests and fellow Toastmasters of District 20 and guests all around the world. A very good evening to you all. Why we are here today? It is all about branding. And what is branding is? It is representing ourselves. It's like marketing, like who are we? And that's why it's very important to get this workshop, the importance of this workshop, because this will represent or will market for our Toastmaster. It's not about only color, logo, or it's not about also only the thing that is in our mind regarding, what is in the branding handbook, but it's go beyond that. Because whenever we see this logo, it should represent everything in Toastmaster. And that's why we are here today, to hear from the expertise and the workshop that's been organized by our PRM. Myself, as district director, I will not feel shy to say that still I need to get more experience, get more practice, get more also learning for how to market and or how to get more information on the brand side. So that's why in Toastmaster, it is an environment where we learn. And today we will learn. I expect that I will learn myself many things. Thank you so much for being here and for organizing such a wonderful workshop, and wish you all the best. Thank you, our MC, and back to you.
Thank you so much, District Director. And now for the second part, he is a Toastmaster since 2017. He has held various positions as VP Education, past division EPRM, past division E-Director, head of IT and head of IT in DTAC 2020, IP DTAC chair, and currently serving as District 20 PRM. He's also working in Expeditors International Kuwait. He loves traveling and photography, and he believes in leading by example and having fun during the leadership journey. Let's all welcome Toastmaster Bichel, District 20 Public Relations Manager.
Well, thank you very much, our lovely MC, Toastmaster Sarah. Thank you so very much. I'd like to acknowledge, first of all, the presence of our District Director, DTM Mona Lakab, our PQD, DTM Yasser. We have Division I Directors and the District Admin Manager, Toastmaster Sarah. A warm welcome and a special welcome to our trainer, Angsto. Thank you very much for accepting the role of trainer for today's workshop. Well, my address to most of our fellow members here in Toastmasters is that brand does play a lot of importance and significance in our life, not only in just the Toastmasters, but other areas of life as well. So today, what we're going to learn from Toastmaster Anka is that how we can emphasize that awareness in Toastmasters, and also those skills, that awareness can be used outside Toastmasters as well. So let's have a great event and an insightful learning from Toastmaster Anka. And I wish everyone a lovely learning session. Over to you, our MC, Toastmaster Sarah.
Thank you so much. And now it's time for the trainer. Angsto has been a member of Rosebank Toastmasters in Johannesburg, South Africa, for almost 6 years. In this time, she has served as VP of Education, VP of Membership, Treasurer, and President for the club. She was the Toastmasters Leadership Institute Chair for District 74 for the 2021 and 2022 year, and scooped up the award for Toastmasters of the Year for District 74 in that same year. She is passionate about her day job in IT consulting for Microsoft, amateur acting in community plays, and of course, training Toastmasters to be great. Let's all welcome trainer Toastmaster Angsto.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. And I believe the correct term to say is Morheben, everybody. And thank you for having me here in this District 20. I love the fact that Toastmasters has become more multicultural, and all over the world we can engage with each other because of these online platforms. So I'm really, really happy to be here today. So I'm going to share my screen, and then we are going to get started on this presentation. So here we go. So as you know, we are here to do a brand awareness exercise today. And that is for us to all understand exactly how Toastmasters brand is put together so that we can most effectively portray it when we're trying to grow our clubs and grow our communities. So I won't go too long into introducing myself because Toastmaster Sarah did such a good job, but I am Anka Stowe and I'm president at Rosebank Toastmasters in District 74. Okay, so let's go through just a few bullet points of the topics that we're going to cover in today's session. So we will be talking about voice and tone when it comes to branding, visual guidelines, images and photography, resources that you can access, as well as standards and procedures that are in place for you to go through in certain branding situations. So at this point, I'm going to switch over to the brand manual, and this is a resource that is available to everybody. I will put a document in the chat that you can access and keep it for your own records, but let's quickly do that. Brand manual. There we go. So you can look back on this and keep it for your own records as needed. But for now, let me open it up and show you what we're going to go through here today. Let's change this to a full screen. Okay, so we're basically going to work our way through the brand manual today. Along the way, please feel free to send me a direct question into the chat if you need to. If it's in Arabic, send to one of our Arabic counterparts and they'll get it translated accordingly. I may stop for questions along the way if it makes sense to do so. Otherwise, we will have a 10 minutes dedicated at the end for some questions and answers. And I will say ahead of time, I might not know the answers to everything, but I will drop my WhatsApp number in the chat as well, so that if anyone wants to link up after the session, we can absolutely do so. So to start off with, this is a document for brand ambassadors, and anybody who has anything to do with marketing for their Toastmasters club or division or district is a brand ambassador, not just a VPPR. But of course, the VPPRs are the custodians of these brands overall. So this is very much aimed at them. So first of all, we're going to just go through some of the core parts of the brand platform, and that is the tagline. So this tagline can be used on your marketing wherever relevant, and that is where leaders are made. It helps to convey our mission and our purpose. Then there are the core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence. And these values are at the core of Toastmasters and stand behind every decision that we make. They provide a means of guiding and evaluating existing operations, near-term planning, and our vision for the future. I see there is a hand up from Madam District Director. Please go ahead.
Yeah, just I want to make sure about your sharing. Are you sharing the manual itself?
I am. Are you able to see it?
No, we cannot see it. That's why I'm just trying to interrupt. Yeah.
Let me just try again. Give me one second. Let me know if you are able to see it now.
Now we can see. Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for sorting me out there. I appreciate it. I couldn't realize. Okay, so what I just went through was the tagline, where leaders are made, and then the core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence, as well as the brand promise, which is empowering individuals through personal and professional development. I said that we would cover some things to do with voice and tone. And when it comes to expressing our brand, it's really important that we reflect in the personality with how the organization interacts with audiences at every point of communication. So when it comes to external media, social posts, while adjustments should be made to reflect each culture, each language, and each medium, our brand personality is universal. So it's got strong elements of leadership, dedication, and empowerment. And then the voice and the tone that we use when we are doing branding materials needs to be clear yet respectful, friendly yet professional, positive, upbeat, and enthusiastic, and it's also serious when necessary. Also, it's open to exchange, which means you're able to connect with people when you do that kind of language. So all branded communication helps strengthen our relationships with our target audience. And perhaps the most important aspect of branded communication is voice and tone. We need to make sure that all the branded communication is warm, clear, friendly, professional, succinct, which means getting straight to the point, respectful, universally understandable, and internationally friendly. As we know, we are often finding ourselves in international forums. We're going to move on to visual guidelines, and here we will spend quite a little bit of time just to understand some of the necessary guidelines that we need to follow when it comes to logos and placement and that sort of thing. So here we have the logo, an integral piece of our visual identity, and we need to apply it correctly and consistently to accelerate engagement and raise the organization's credibility. These clear space and minimum size rules ensure that the logo is clearly visible in print, whether you're getting something printed, and in web applications such as websites, social media sites, and that sort of thing. So we've got these three versions of the logo, and that is the full color logo, the grayscale logo, and the white logo. These are available for download at toastmasters.org/logos. So you can find the link in this document that I shared in the chat, and I'll share it a bit later again as well. Now to come into a little bit of detail about the clear space that you need around your logo. So when you are creating a new piece of branding, you do need to make sure that that logo isn't all cluttered up with all the other elements of design that are on that page. So one of the rules is that an area of clear space should be maintained around the logo that is equal to or greater than the distance X as indicated in the diagram, being the height of the word mark. So these two words of Toastmasters International, the width that they are, that is the size of the width that needs to be clear space around this logo. So I hope that is clear. If there are any questions, please do go ahead in the chat. And then we'll move on to minimum size. So when you are designing for web usage, you get to specify the size of the images that you're using. And on the web, we're usually talking about pixels when it comes to sizes, as opposed to centimeters or millimeters. So 72 pixels is the minimum width that a logo should be on a website or on a social media post. And if we're talking about print, let's say that you are printing some flyers or agendas or something like that, then it should be no smaller than 3/4 of an inch in print. Moving on to the logo word mark. So we've now covered the basic logo, but there are some other versions of the logo also available. And once again, they're all available here at toastmasters.org/logos. This is known as the word mark, and similar clear space and minimum size requirements apply to this logo. So an area of clear space should be maintained around the word mark that is equal to or greater than the distance x as indicated in the diagram, x being the height of the word mark. So the blank space should be the same width as the actual logo itself in this case. And once again, the minimum sizes are same as for the other logos, a minimum of 72 pixels wide on the web or 3/4 inches in print. We've also got something called logo lockups, and these are some alternative ways to use the logo and the word mark. So it's such as putting the slogan below the logo, such as where leaders are made, or the website address under the logo, as well as this particular format of since 1924 that gets used in numerous places. So these logos are also available for download, or these logo lockups are also available for download in the logos section of the website. Here's a couple of do's and don'ts when it comes to logos. So all the options on the left-hand sides of this page in the blue are a go. So whether you want to make a logo for your district, you can take the standard logo and put your district number underneath it, that is fine. If you wanted to do one for your club or for a particular saying for your club, that is also fine, like I'm just saying. And then you've got the logo lockups that you can also use and put additional wording underneath them, and that is fine. On the right-hand side, we're going to show some examples of what you should not do. So the top left item here is don't put the logo in perspective. So in other words, don't skew it from the normal flat interface that it has. And then don't disproportionately scale the logo. That means you keep the height and the width at the same ratio when you make the logo bigger or smaller, instead of like this one, where, as you can see, it's become sort of squashed down and it's wider than it should be. The third at the top is don't change the proportion of the logo elements. So in this example, the Toastmasters International word mark has been made bigger than what it is supposed to be in the standard format. In the middle row on the left, we've got don't change any elements of the logo. So for example, here they've taken out the white lines on the Earth globe behind the Toastmasters International wording. You're not allowed to change any elements of the logo, so leave them as it is. And then you cannot customize or create logos for clubs and districts. So this one that says District 99 in the middle instead of Toastmasters International is unfortunately not allowed. But as you can see on the left-hand side, if you were to just take the logo and put District 99 at the bottom of it, that would be acceptable. On the right-hand side of our page, in the middle on the right, is don't change the color of the logo. So here someone has taken the blue of the Earth globe and changed it to our burgundy or maroon color of Toastmasters. So even though it's a Toastmasters color, it is not the appropriate color for this logo. The logo needs to stay in its initial original colors. At the bottom left, you can see this green block where the recommendation is not to put the logo on colors that are not in the brand color palette. And we will touch on exactly what colors are in the brand color palette a little bit later on in this presentation. But green is not one of them. And then don't use any copy, slogans, symbols, or images overlapping the logo. Like in this example here, where the slogan "Where Leaders Are Made" has been added across the logo itself. That is not allowed. And lastly, don't put a patterned glow behind the logo. So here you can see there's like an outline of a glow around the logo. Another example that wouldn't be correct is if you put a drop shadow behind the logo. That would not be allowed. So keep the logo clean around the edges as it was initially designed. So those are just some yeses and nos with regards to how you use the logo. Then we go on to the color palettes. And here we have True Maroon, Loyal Blue, and Cool Gray. You will have seen these colors all over Toastmasters branding material. You recognize it on the backgrounds of the Zoom backgrounds that we're busy using right now. So somebody has been very brand compliant in ensuring that the right colors are used. So congratulations on that. And then we also have an accent color, which you might have seen pop up here and there, which is Happy Yellow. And I must say, I like the name of that color personally. All right, so there is some information here related to each of the colors, such as the hexadecimal code, the CMYK code, and the Pantone colors, as well as the RGB codes for digital. So usually when you're doing a website design, you are able to use the hexadecimal codes. This will apply when you're using tools such as Canva as well. The CMYK for 4-color process, those will be used mostly if you are going to be doing branding on printed items, where they actually use an ink to print. Either the CMYK or the Pantone colors can be used for print. And finally, RGB for digital. So it's similar to the hexadecimal. It's just a different way of explaining the color, basically. But I'll show you a little bit more of this when we do a little intro into Canva just now. Okay. There we go. I've popped the brand manual into the chat again for your reference. Okay, there are also gradient colors. So these are using the Loyal Blue, the Maroon, and the Cool Gray to create marketing materials with gradients where it's going from a lighter to a darker color. Here it explains to you the colors you can use for those gradients. So I won't go into too much detail in here, but if you're really trying to get creative with your branding materials, this can have a good effect. It gives that almost 3D effect when you're using these gradients, and you can use them for all 3 of the colors. Then there are transparencies. So it's almost like shades of these colors that are allowed to be used. So this is where you change the opacity, or in other words, how see-through the color is when you place it on another background. And this can help you give a little bit more depth and detail to your designs as well. We also have another logo, which is the Pathways logo. And very much the clear space and minimum size requirements also apply to this. So you've got the full color one again, the grayscale one, as well as the white one, depending on what kind of marketing material you'll be using it on. And then the clear space should be the height of the word pathways. So you'll see as high as the word pathways is, that is the width of the space around the logo that is needed if you're going to be placing it on any branded material. And this logo, once again, also available at toastmasters.org/logos. We've also got these branding elements, which are Pathways badges. So Pathways badges are shown over here, and there's no particular branding requirements for them, but I would still go with things such as not putting it on a background color that is not Toastmasters themed color, as well as leaving enough blank space around them so that they are visible and clear. Okay, now we get on to a point which is fonts. And fonts are the typescript that is used when you are creating documentation, when you are putting words into your branding material. What font is being used? For example, Times New Roman, Arial, Comic Sans. We all know these few basic fonts that usually come with Microsoft Word and that sort of thing. But in Toastmasters, we can't be using these standard fonts. We've got two particular fonts that have been approved for use with Toastmasters branding materials. And those are Gotham, and you get Gotham in various kind of thicknesses, such as ultra, black, bold, and medium, book, light, extra light, and thin. So you can use any variation of these thicknesses of this same font. There is a free alternative font called Montserrat, which can also be used as an alternative if you cannot get a hold of this Gotham font. I was able to find a download of the Gotham font and upload it into my Canva. So I wanted to show you all how you could quickly do that as well. But let me just quickly show you the next font. And a good point is the usage of this is for headlines and subheadings. If we go down to the next font, it is Myriad Pro. So they recommend that you use Gotham for headlines and subheads, and Myriad Pro for the body of the collateral. So keep that in mind when you're doing your different documentation and branding materials to use them as such. There is also a free alternative font called Source Sans Pro, and that can be linked to over here. If you click this link, you can access that font for free. So they are similar enough that you can get away with using them in Toastmasters branding material. I'll quickly show you what I did in Canva in order to upload Gotham font in there for me. So here I've got my Rosebank Toastmasters Canva website. Are you able to see it? If someone can just confirm yes. Okay, I think I saw a nod. All right. So in Canva, you've got something called a brand hub. And in this brand hub is a brand kit. And in this brand kit, you've got logos that can be used. You've got your color palettes. So this is what I was going to say. I would go a little bit further into it as we go. Here are some items for the color palette. There's a hand up from Mr. PQD. Please go ahead.
We are unable to see the other screen.
Okay, it looks like I then need to stop the share and share the screen when I'm going to change between presentations. Usually it doesn't need that, but that is all right. I will do so. Okay, let me just go back to where I was at the home page and confirm you can see it now. Great, thank you. So this is the Canva homepage where you land when you've logged in, and if you've got a premium account like we do for Rosebank Toastmasters, and I know some other clubs and divisions and districts do as well. So once you have a professional account, you've got access to something called the Brand Hub here on the left, which I'll click on. And in that, you've got something called a brand kit. And in our brand kit, we've uploaded this Toastmasters logo. We've also specified the color palette to be used. So we've got happy yellow here, we've got the cool gray, we've got the loyal blue, and that maroon color as well. So we've put in the hexadecimal codes to specify these exact colors. As you can see here, #772432 will match the hex code that is in the brand manual as well. Then you've got a section for fonts, and you can specify for the titles, subtitles, headings, subheadings, section headers, body, the quotes, and captions, exactly which fonts you'd like to use for what. And this is also where you would upload custom fonts. So if you go to manage uploaded fonts, here you can see I have uploaded the Gotham font. And there are all the different versions that it showed you earlier. Now, I tried to upload Myriad Pro, which I was able to find a download of, but in fact, it didn't allow me to. It said that Canva does not have a license to use Myriad Pro. So what I'm going to do, let me quickly just pull it up on this side. I'm going to go to the brand manual where it said there was a free alternate, the Source Sans Pro. And I'm going to find the link to that real quick. Okay, I thought I could do that really quickly, but unfortunately that page does not exist. So I would have to look for it. But how you would go about it is you would download the font from a free fonts website, and then you would go to manage uploaded fonts and click on add new. You would then go into your downloads and find the particular font and go into it and select all of the fonts that there are and click on open. Then you say upload anyway, and then it would upload those files. Now, as I mentioned, Myriad Pro, it's not going to upload it because it cannot be used in Canva without the license. So that is why you will go rather and look for the free font that is mentioned in the brand manual. And then you would be able to go into each of these sections, and for titles and subtitles, you could specify that you want Gotham font. And for the body, you could specify that you want the alternative for Myriad Pro, which is Source Sans Pro. So that is a way that you can come and have your Canva almost customized to match the branding that you need, so that when you create new projects, those things are already defaulted. So I'll quickly stop the share there and just get my other document on the screen again. Bear with me 1 second, I'll share again now. Okay, and here we go. All right, so that gives you a brief overview of the 2 fonts that need to be used, or their free alternatives, which are also acceptable. Now we're going to move on to images and photography. And here there are some guidelines that you need to follow that wouldn't seem so obvious when you first think about it. So the photography style should reflect the Toastmasters environment, where people look engaged, empowered, and supported, as portrayed in meetings, presentations, speeches, networking venues, conferences, training venues, and speech contests. You need to stay away from images that do not connect to the Toastmasters environment, such as those mainly or solely portraying landscapes, animals, children, food and food appliances, medicine, and architecture. So that's why you'll always find in Toastmasters branding and posters, you're always going to see people that look like they're giving a great speech. Don't use cartoons, illustrations, or clip arts in materials created for clubs, areas, divisions, districts, and regions. And that includes presentations that you use for training sessions, whether you are doing a club officer training or just an educational at a club. You cannot just use any cartoon images. An array of Toastmasters branded images are available for download by visiting this link here. So do make sure to check that out. Always make sure you have permission to use and or reproduce any images and pictures utilized in your designs. Images protected by trademarks and copyrights should never be used. So you can't just do a Google search and go on Google Images and pull an image that you think looks suitable, because you don't have necessarily the rights to use that image. Use this library of Toastmasters branded images because they are pre-licensed by Toastmasters. They're giving you the permission to use them, and there are many there. Another thing you can do is you can use real photos from your actual club events, but keep in mind you will need to get permission from the people in those photos to use those photos as well. Oh, there we go. So these are just some of the examples of the Toastmasters branded images available to you. And as you can see, they've also put in some effort to ensure that they are representative of a diverse audience, people from all cultures, genders, backgrounds, and that sort of thing. Now we've got a little bit of a guideline on logo placement on photography. So the Toastmasters logo can be used on photography as long as the placement of the logo has good contrast between the logo and the image behind the logo, and the logo isn't part of anything specific in the image. The logo also should not directly cover people's faces or compete with the image. You can use the Toastmasters logo on a background that has sufficient contrast, but make sure that the logo is completely legible, meaning you can read it clearly, and use Toastmasters approved photography. Place the logo with the minimal required clear space around it, and ideally at the top left or bottom right of the image. So those are the guidelines here: top left, bottom right. The logo should not be part of the image in any way, and there should be enough clear space around the logo. Okay, here we have a section on some resources that you can access. So this will be more useful in the document that I've linked in the chat, that I'll post it again one more time before the end of the session. And you've actually got a whole brand portal. So if you go to toastmasters.org/brand portal, you can find things such as business cards and letterheads, photo templates, stationery for your email signatures, and more. So refer to the brand portal to review all that is available to you. As mentioned, there's an email signature available for you as well. So this you can specifically find under toastmasters.org/stationery. So it's the exact right format for the signature to use when you're sending out emails from your club, from your division, from your area, from your district. Okay, we will briefly go through some standards and procedures related to branding. So in some circumstances, you are going to need to request to use the trademark officially. And this is, as a general rule, all non-paper materials require official authorization prior to production or purchase. When we're talking about non-paper materials, we are talking about things such as trophies, ribbons, banners, certificates, clothing, or other items. And these need to get authorized by a particular responsible person. So in order to obtain authorization for any of the non-authorized materials from this chart on the right-hand side, you would submit your proposed design through a trademark use request. And there's a link to that on the website. All cases are analyzed individually, so you need to submit your request with plenty of time for the brand and trademark teams to review it and provide feedback. They might tell you something like make the logo bigger or place it on a different area on the particular product that you're going to be branding. And trademark authorizations are valid for the term in which they were granted and are not automatically renewed. In order to produce or buy items previously authorized, you need to resubmit a new trademark use request. So just because it got approved once doesn't mean that it's going to get approved another time necessarily. If you're in doubt of whether you should submit a request or contact the brand team for approval, check the chart on this page regarding Protocol 4.0 of intellectual property. So here we have, for clubs, areas, divisions, and districts, you're allowed to use the logo on things such as stationery, business cards, bulletins, newsletters, electronic media, websites, program covers, agendas, and similar items, only if directly related to and focused on the club, division, or district mission. And then non-authorized, as I mentioned just now, are articles such as trophies, ribbons, banners, certificates, clothing, or other items, except by specific prior written authorization from the Chief Executive Officer. Officer candidates at all levels are allowed to use stationery, business cards, mailings, electronic media, websites, campaign literature, and similar items. And once again, it's the same group of non-authorized items here. And this is the responsible person who should be submitting the request for the trademark use. And then individual members and officers at all levels need to also bear this in mind. Whenever it's something from the non-authorized column, then they need to be submitting a trademark use request. I hope that is clear. Okay, we're nearing the end, so soon there will be some time for questions and answers. But first, we've got some video guidelines. So in today's day and age, we've got a lot of media being created for online platforms. And one of these is video, because it's becoming easier and easier for us to produce video with our own mobile devices, edit videos using free editing softwares available. And there is a way of doing this correctly. So you need to use these guidelines as a checklist. The club name or the district number should be placed below the logo to indicate which club or district created the video. The credits at the end should list the name, club, and district of the person or team that created the video. The copyright symbol, district number, or club name and year should also be displayed. You need to obtain written permission from every individual in the video, and please use a separate video release form for each person. I do believe there are sample video release forms available in the brand portal as well. The video must not infringe on the intellectual property, privacy, publicity rights, ownership, or any other legal or moral rights of any third party, and must be suitable for public viewing. And you need to add the disclaimer below to one of the first frames of the video, which states Toastmasters International and all other Toastmasters International trademarks and copyrights are the sole property of Toastmasters International. This video is the opinion of the creator and is independent of Toastmasters International. It's not authorized by, endorsed by, sponsored by, affiliated with, or otherwise approved by Toastmasters International. So by placing this disclaimer near the beginning of your videos, that allows you to go and create more videos like this, because otherwise we would need to go and get every single video individually approved, which I don't think they have the resources for. There is a request to brand@toastmasters.org where you can email them to submit for a trademark use request. So it looks like you do need to send it through this avenue here. But as long as it fulfills these guidelines, you shouldn't have any issues submitting that. There are some guidelines for apparel, which is like clothing, mugs, pens, things like that. And that is that the logo or word mark should always be in the front of the t-shirt or jacket and no larger than 3 inches in diameter. If you have words or type on the back of any shirt or jacket, it should not be larger than 12 inches wide and 17 inches high. And the acceptable colors for these clothing or products are white, burgundy, blue, black, and gray, as close to the color palette that you can get on page 12 as possible. And also to keep in mind, if there is going to be any custom wording on these products, you need to use the Gotham font or the Myriad Pro font if it's the body of something, depending what format you're going to be printing. All right, website guidelines. There is a whole protocol on websites that can be found at toastmasters.org/intellectual property. So if you are responsible for any kind of website creation for your club or for your district or division, then do go through and read that. Don't copy or re-upload information or content that's available to the general public on any Toastmasters websites. And anything that requires a login or membership to access is off limits. So don't go and post evaluation resources, things that you can only get when you're logged into Pathways or Basecamp on any public websites. You also need to add the disclaimer below to the bottom of the website. And for questions and approval, you can contact the brand team at toastmasters.org. There are some guidelines for corporate clubs. So it's to be making sure that when using both the Toastmasters logo and the corporation logo, make sure they are never side by side. So as you can see in this example, the logo is at the top left for the company and bottom left for Toastmasters. They're not right next to each other. So that's quite important. They should be on opposite sides or corners of the material or have one on the top and one at the bottom. Here are some guidelines for gavel clubs. I'll leave that for you to go through if it's relevant to you, because not a lot of clubs are gavel clubs, but they use a slightly different logo, and these are the versions of that can be used, also available at the logos resource in this link. And then there are some guidelines for district conferences. So here you may create a custom logo or theme for your conference, providing they don't infringe on copyrights or trademarks of other organizations. Brand guidelines must be adhered to for all other events. Using the Toastmasters logo and tagline is optional. Sponsors of the conference should be mentioned in materials either by name or by a logo in a sponsor designated section, never next to the Toastmasters logo. So also for conference materials to be approved, you would contact the brand team to get that done. Here's a link to the intellectual property policy. that's got to do with website design and things like that. So do refer to it, especially the section on brand standards, to make sure the materials you are creating are brand compliant. In this document, there is a section on frequently asked questions. So I'll briefly go through those in case it's something that someone wanted to ask anyway, seeing as though these are frequently asked questions. So can our district create a logo or theme for the district conference? Yes, but this is the sole exception to the logo and theme rule. Districts are welcome to create a look and feel for their annual conference. Regarding colors, is true maroon designated for districts and loyal blue designated for clubs? So you might have heard this before, that maroon is supposed to be for district and loyal blue is supposed to be when clubs make their materials. And they did used to have this distinction in the past. But since the introduction of the new banners and business cards, this is no longer applicable. So while world headquarters may use the colors to identify some materials, clubs and districts are welcome to use the color of their preference. And then can I create or produce name badges, ribbons, club banners, or pins locally? These may not be produced locally in any form. Local production of club banners is permitted, but only if the production makes use of a digital banner design purchased through the Toastmasters online store. So this ensures the brand standards and quality and compliance are followed. Clubs and districts are welcome to develop other items, such as gifts, plaques, patches, etc., to recognize their members and milestones. So it's just important that badges, ribbons, club banners, and pins are not produced locally. Then can the Toastmasters International emblem be used in promotional materials? So the emblem should only be used in historical context by clubs and divisions, areas, and regions. Using just the emblem or both logos in promotional materials is confusing and dilutes the power of the brand. The World Headquarters uses the emblem in select materials to honor the Toastmasters legacy and preserve its trademark. Can my club still use the old club banner? So the old one with the old Toastmasters International emblem. This should only be used in a historical context. And then how do I know if I need a trademark use request? If you need to obtain authorization, you need to follow the chart on page 27 to determine whether you need to submit a trademark use request or not. And that brings us to the end of the brand manual. I hope that this has given you a good overview. The resource is available to you. So let me just post it one more time into the group chat. And then I'm not sure, Vishal, if you've gotten any direct questions that we need to address at this stage, or if we can ask people just to raise their hands if they've got any specific questions.
Well, thank you so much, Toastmaster Anke, for this amazing session on the brand manuals and also explaining to us how the Canva has been well utilized. Okay, we've got some questions regarding the questions on the clip art. In the meantime, I would also request our participants, if you have got any question, please feel free to raise your hands or write it in the chat box. Your questions. Okay, so the question is regarding the clarity on clip arts. Over to you.
Okay, so clarity on clip arts is that it may not be used in any branding material whatsoever. So clip art is like the free images that are available in Microsoft Word and places like that, where you can go insert clip art. And then it would be things like cartoon drawings of people, cartoon drawings of animals or objects. So none of those are allowed. As a rule, you can only have the photography that shows engaged Toastmasters. I don't know if there's a more specific angle to that question that the person had in mind. If so, feel free to elaborate. Otherwise, I hope I've answered your question.
So we have another question from a Toastmaster. Yes, what do you mean by the picture should not compete with the logo?
So what I mean by that is if you've got an image of, let's say, a microphone that you're going to use for a speech contest, you don't want to place the logo on the microphone as if it's a part of it, as if it was a branded microphone or something like that. So that's just one example I can think of. Also, you don't want the logo to be anywhere on the picture where there is a great amount of detail behind it. The area on the photo that the logo should be on should be kind of clear or blurry, so that you don't have anything in the background of the logo that detracts from being able to read the logo. I hope that helps.
We have a hand raised from Samsung SM. Yes, Toastmaster, could you please identify yourself and ask your question? I'll just ask you to unmute. Please go ahead. Oh, wait, just hold on. We're asking you to unmute. Raja, could you help me out?
There we go. My name is Nikki, and I'm from Magodi Toastmasters. I wanted to know where you can get the disclaimer that you post YouTube videos or TikTok videos, and you have to post them before, you have to post the disclaimer before your video. Am I correct?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. So great to see you, Nikki. Glad you could join the session today. We in the brand manual, the disclaimer was outlined there. So if I know I've got your direct number as well, so I can maybe send you a copy of the brand manual. But in there, on the page that discusses video guidelines, there is the exact wording of the disclaimer to be used in that video. And you are correct. It needs to come up within the first few frames of your video. So you could open the video with maybe a Toastmasters logo screen and then immediately show the disclaimer and then go into the rest of the video. I hope that helps.
Okay, we have a question from my very good friend Toastmaster Dinesh Kumar Pal. Dinesh, yes, please go ahead with your question. I'll just open up the mic. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much, District 20 PR Manager Toastmasters Bisal, to conducting this very beautiful workshop. My question already I texted you. Just I want to know, there is any standard size of the font to use on the flyers for the body, for the heading, subheading, and the body text?
If you can just repeat your question quickly.
I ask, is there any standard size of the font to use in the heading, subheading, or the body text on the flyer? Or we are free to use any size of the font?
Yeah, good question. And as far as I can see from the brand manual, I would assume that they would have put guidelines in if there was a specific guideline to that. So I think it goes along the lines of, as long as it's something that looks natural and it's not taking up the entire page unlogically, I do think that you can use your discretion of which font sizes to use. I would say that probably you would lean towards making the headings the biggest, making the subheadings a little bit smaller, and making the body text smaller still. But other than those basic kind of logical guidelines, there's nothing hard and fast written in stone that you need to follow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dinesh.
Right. We have a question from Toastmaster Udaya. Toastmaster Udaya, yes, please go ahead and ask your question.
Sorry, I'm outside. I'm not able to switch on my video.
Never mind.
My question is, can we use music audios in the posters? In Canva, we can add audios. There are a lot of audios available, like musical audios. Can we use in the posters, like set of posters we can create? Can we add those audio in the posters?
Okay, thank you for your question, Udaya, and that's a very interesting one. So in case anyone didn't catch that, he was asking, can we use audio in posters? So for example, in Facebook, you might have seen some posters have got sound attached to them as well. And what I would say is the most important thing when it comes to that is to stick to the voice and tone of the Toastmasters brand. So I wouldn't go and put any old song or maybe voice recording or anything in there, but I would make sure that it is a tune that kind of indicates confidence, that's friendly yet professional, positive, upbeat, and enthusiastic. So I think that as long as it kind of matches the voice and tone of the general brand platform, then sound, in addition to a poster, should not be an issue.
For example, I used one of the Mozart's theme song for release in a poster. Is it allowed?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I used one of the Mozart's for release theme. Beethoven's. Beethoven's for release theme. It's a musical piano.
Okay.
audio.
Thanks, Vishal, for clarifying that, like a Mozart theme that you've used, for example. So I wouldn't think that there's anything wrong with that personally. I would say that if you are in doubt, maybe emailing brand@toastmasters.org would be the best bet. But personally, to me, that seems like it fits with a confident, professional, kind of classical approach that the tone and voice of Toastmasters goes with. So I wouldn't think that that is out of place myself, but I would say if you are in doubt, maybe to send an email to brand@toastmasters.org.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, Uday. Okay, I think we've come to the end of our question timing as well. But before we leave, I've just got one question for you, Anke. It's quite general. That how important is PR to a district? I mean, I can see you represent a district which is medley distinguished. So how important is PR for a district to achieve something or that status, or in your opinion, what role does it play?
I think it plays a big role in that it conveys the amount of passion that the district leadership has in relation to the work they are doing. So just an example from our district recently is we had the PR manager helping our club officer training organizers make sure that their posters are brand compliant before they go out, because they had caught a few that didn't seem quite right. And then we put a process in place so that they get approval from district to make sure that it is congruent with, first of all, being brand right, and using the right fonts and types of images. But then secondly, also conveying the voice and the tone of Toastmasters in general, but of our district as a whole, where we're all about personal development and professionalism as well. So I think that it really plays a big role in giving people an overall impression of how dedicated and committed the district leadership is. So I think that PR is really important to a district.
Thank you. And do we have any other questions? I think with that, we can wrap up our question. Okay, we've got a question from Toastmaster Messina. Says, I have a question, but I'm not able to turn on my music or turn on the mic. Okay, you can turn on the mic now. Yeah, go ahead, Toastmaster Menesach. Kindly ask your question. Okay, let me read out the question on behalf of Toastmaster Manager. Says, I would like to know if birthday posters that are posted in clubs should follow branding to the dot, or a clip art of balloon and confetti can be used. So birthday posters should be followed to the dot, or if clip arts of balloons and confettis can be used?
That is a very good question. And I must say, in my own tenure as club executive, we have done celebratory posters where we put in some like fireworks on the side and things like that, which is not to the T brand rights. So I would say if that material is going to be shared anywhere on a group where other Toastmasters are going to see it, then I would say stick to the brand guidelines. If you're going to send it directly to the person and no one else is going to see it, you know, who will know? But I would say if it's going to be in any kind of a public forum like your club WhatsApp group or something like that, I would stick to the brand guidelines, because it may create confusion for people that come in later if you then tell them this is not allowed, but then they will be like, but you used it there. So you want consistency in your brand usage, I would say. That's a tough one, but thanks for asking the question.
Okay, thank you. Yes, yeah, with that, I think we conclude the workshop.
I think I've seen Sarish put their hand up for a while now, so maybe we can grab one last question before we wrap.
Sure. Thank you so much. I am tired raising my hand, so I want to ask this question. I am the district PR manager for District 92, and we are experimenting a little with the gradients, as in, according to the brand manual, we're using the gradients effectively, which are kind of bringing a lot of creativity through the posters. So while going through the brand material and also going through the standee, which is approved by TI, and while we got that printed, it was a gradient which was not specified in the brand manual, which was the true maroon and happy yellow mix. And it came out to be an orange standee, which was actually approved by Toastmasters. And this is my first question. And the other one which I saw was on the Toastmasters International Instagram handle, where I saw red poster, which was I think Pantone red, which was earlier allowed but not now in the brand manual. And hence I just wanted to get a little clarification on the gradient mixes. Do we have any situation wherein in a standee we can use this kind of a gradient mix? Or I wanted to write to brand@toastmasters.org, but I haven't yet. I just thought that I will ask that question here.
No, thanks for asking, but this is unfortunately one of those that I don't know the answer to. But it sounded like you got creative with some of the gradients and played around. And I would say don't be scared to get creative and be boxed in by the brand guidelines, but get approval. Rather ask for permission than for forgiveness in this case. So I would say go ahead, email brand@toastmasters.org, find out if you can use it. If you get their approval, then they have the last say on that. I doubt they would approve the maroon to yellow gradient, because it creates a whole new color that's out of the palette. But you know, it's worth a try.
So we actually have a vendor who has TI approved all the material which we procure in our district are from that particular vendor, and the standee provided was of that gradient, and hence that question. But yes, I will write and also get back to anyone who would want to know. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for the question. And back to you, Toastmaster Vishal. Thank you very much for this opportunity to bring some light to brand awareness. I've really enjoyed myself in this session. We've had some great engaging questions, and I thank you for the time.
Well, thank you very much, Toastmaster Anke, for this engaging session and quite insightful. And I also like to thank all our audiences who've been very much involved with this activity, today's session, and for asking some very, very interesting questions. And that was amazing. Before we move on to the next segment, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our international director, DTM Ali Shabazz Ali, And may I request a few words from him, if that's convenient. DTM Ali, please feel free to use the mic and the video at your convenience. Thank you.
Hi, PRM. Vishal, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Absolutely. Loud and clear, always.
Great. Thanks a lot. District 20 Director, Mona, District PR Manager Vishal, and our amazing presenters for the day. I'm so happy when I see training workshops happening on branding guidelines. I recall in 2016, one potential member, he was going around different clubs to choose one of them where he should join. And he came up to me, he was a good friend, and he came up to me with different agendas. And he just showed me, he was going through different agendas, and I was like amazed with his knowledge. In one of the agendas, there were all this Marvel and DC Comics characters. And in the other agenda, he saw some Mickey Mouse character. And he just asked me that this is his months of research going around different clubs. And he's so confused. What exactly is Toastmasters brand? And is it okay with them to allow all this in their club agendas? I had no answer at that time. This was years back from now. And I just told him, well, we are unified under one branding guidelines, and I shared the branding manual of that time with him. Surely it wasn't followed. And that was a big kind of awakening point for me. And that since then, I've been always telling people, you don't have to know A to Z if you don't want to. Just make sure you don't violate things. You don't put a Mickey Mouse or Oppenheimer on the agenda. You see, so just make sure we don't break rules. Stay on the safer side. There is do's and don'ts clearly on in the brand manuals. Just stick to that part. Thanks a lot to Vishal and the presenters for helping us learn so much. Over to you, PRM.
Thank you very much, DTM. It was so nice of you for gracing the occasion with your presence and your insight to this. Fantastic. Thank you so very much. All right. With that, we come to the end of our amazing workshop, very well handled by Toastmaster Anke from District 74. And as a token of appreciation, Toastmaster Anke, I would like to, on behalf of our district, would like to present a certificate for a wonderful training. So please accept our certificate. And also I would like to recognize the roles, what our role players have played, because all of this thing wouldn't happen without the commitment from our role players. So starting with our presenter, I shall now present the certificates. Yes, thank you very much, Toastmaster Anke, for Now, I would like to also acknowledge the role played by a very young and enthusiastic Toastmaster Sarah. Toastmaster Sarah comes from the district, from our district, and she's from the Giza Toastmasters Club, Division G. Thank you so much, Sarah, and very well handling it. We are very, very proud of you. The whole district is very proud of you. Great job, Sarah.
Thank you. It's
my
pleasure.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you. The man behind the screen, who's making it all happen for us on the technical side, and that is none other than our Zoom master, DTM Rajamanikam. Rajamanikam, brother, thank you so very much for your support, and it's been amazing to have you in the team. Fantastic. God bless you. Well, there is another very resourceful lady who is also behind the screen, and I would appreciate if you could switch on her video for us to know who is. And as we are speaking, she's translating all that we are saying in Arabic. She's an amazing person, a very good friend of mine, and also the Division E Director, Toastmaster Asma Al-Anizi. Thank you so much for your support as the language translator for this session. Thank you so much, Asma. All right. With that, we have come to the end of our session and acknowledging the role players. So we shall now okay, yeah, we've got a
I'd like
yes,
to
please go
acknowledge
ahead.
one. I'd like to acknowledge one more role player, and that is the timer. Because without him, we would not have tracked time well. Thank you. You're on mute, Toastmaster Vishal.
Well, I didn't quite get it because I think probably I missed out because of my internet connection. Could you just tell me that again?
Sure, sorry. I was just saying I just wanted to acknowledge the timer for their service.
Absolutely. And our timer is a man with all this, the magic in his hand is again none other than Toastmaster, DTM Rajamanikam. Thank you very much, brother, for your support. And very well acknowledged, Toastmaster Anke. Thank you very, very much. Could we have a quick photograph if anybody is able to switch on the camera, and if you're not camera shy, please feel free to open your cameras. And if you're smiling, this is the time right now. Okay. Yes, we have our Division H Director also, Toastmaster Mohammed Shiraz. Thank you so much, brother, for being here. And yes, quite a lot of familiar faces and a lot of faces from outside our district. I'm sure it must be from District 74 as well. We can see Estelle, David. Yes, fantastic. Excellent, excellent. So yes, so let's click in, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to click the share screenshot. So that's going to be clicking, and let's have a small heart, or maybe just that. If everybody can just do that heart, that'll be amazing. Lots of hearts. Okay, I'm going to find it difficult to make my heart, but let me do it this way. Yeah. Clicking 1, 2, and 3. Fantastic. Thank you so very much, everyone, and really appreciate your support for being a wonderful audience and making this session more valuable to us and everyone around. Thank you so much.
Vishal,
Yes.
take another photo for me.
Oh, yes, we have.
I can open my camera
How
now.
did I miss that?
I was trying to open
This
my
will definitely be a
camera.
heart moment. Yes, exactly. DJ Mona, let's go for it.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take that picture once again. And it's another hearty, lovely moment. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you. Great, I have captured that. Thank you so much. With that, we conclude our session. Thank you so much. We shall now conclude the recording.